There are some games that are addicting, but you don't know why. Examples include Dark Souls, most roguelikes, the Supercard, and while we're at it, why not mention every other free-to-play mediocre mobile game or PC MMORPG. All these games have something to keep people playing. Dark Souls rewards players who sink hours into the game and gives you the same satisfaction that NES games gave you when you finished them. The Supercard is a collectible card game, has a tier system to track how good you are, some classic wrestlers like Jake the Snake Roberts, and special events for players to earn cards they can only use once at all. The point is that sometimes a fundamentally really mediocre game can be great if it has the right things going for it. This leads us into the game in question known as Pokemon Rumble Blast. It's a mediocre game at best, don't get me wrong, but it still has enough of the charm and addictiveness of collecting all the Pokemon from the Pokemon franchise's main series for me to recommend. The people who worked on the game really aren't that good. It was developed by Umbrella, published by the Pokemon Company, and released on October 11th, 2011. You may ask, why do I think Umbrella aren't that good? Umbrella worked on games that are considered some of the worst on their respective consoles. The two big games that come to mind are Hey You Pikachu for the Nintendo 64 and Pokemon Channel for the GameCube. They also worked on games like the glorified tech demo of a racing game called Pokemon Dash, My Pokemon Ranch, Pokemon Rumble, and eventually the follow-up games called Pokemon Rumble U for the Wii U, and Pokemon Rumble World for the 3DS, which is a free-to-play game. So you may look at it thinking, man, this is going to suck. They haven't made a good game yet. Why should this be any different? This is completely justified, but you might be surprised in how good it is. The people who worked on the game really aren't that good. It was developed by Umbrella, published by the Pokemon Company, and released on October 11th, 2011. You may ask, why do I think Umbrella aren't that good? Umbrella worked on games that are considered some of the worst on their respective consoles. The two big games that come to mind are Hey You Pikachu for the Nintendo 64 and Pokemon Channel for the GameCube. They also worked on games like the glorified tech demo of a racing game called Pokemon Dash, My Pokemon Ranch, Pokemon Rumble, and eventually the follow-up games called Pokemon Rumble U for the Wii U, and Pokemon Rumble World for the 3DS, which is a free-to-play game. So you may look at it thinking, man, this is going to suck. They haven't made a good game yet. Why should this be any different? This is completely justified, but you might be surprised in how good it is. The plotline is pretty basic. You start off in Toyland after winning a battle royal. You discover that the healing drops used to heal everybody who live in town have been stolen. It's your job to take back the healing drops and become the Pokemon champion. Pretty basic and pretty standard for the franchise. The graphics are okay at best. The game tries to be a Diablo-style game with different places to explore, Pokemon to recruit, and so forth. The problem is that when they tried to accomplish this while putting as many Pokemon on screen as possible, they made the game look half-assed. Characters have a very limited amount of detail. The Pokemon fundamentally look like a 3D version of it. The problem is that there's so low detail that it makes me wish I had the pixelation from games like Pokemon Stadium. I don't care if this is a different monster from Pokemon Stadium. If you have levels that you can see everything in them in under 5 minutes, then don't make the characters have around about as many polygons as a game like Star Fox or Stunt Racer FX from the Super Nintendo. This is also made worse when you consider that the frame rate chops up from time to time. Not to say everything looks bad in Pokemon Rumble Blast. All the Pokemon up to Generation 5 are in there. The problem is that it all goes waste when the game makes you wish you had a mod in Diablo that had all the Pokemon in there as monsters. The audio is okay at best. It tries to replicate the charm of the music from the main franchise. The problem is that you can see that they just couldn't get it right despite their effort. It's decent sounding music, but it's all pretty well forgettable at best. There's not a single track in this game that I would go back to and go, hey, that was a pretty cool track from Pokemon Rumble Blast. The gameplay fundamentally is okay at best. Trust me, if you're not a fan of Diablo-style hack-and-slash games or aren't a fan of Pokemon, then don't bother. Like I said, you go from level to level, fighting other Pokemon, getting better moves, releasing worse Pokemon for cash, and competing in arena battles. You got a maximum of 2 different moves that can be changed at any time with different typing for each, a rating for each Pokemon's attack and defense stats, along with a rating for the strength of the moves themselves. There you go, I pretty well explained everything about the fundamental gameplay. You got stuff like horde battles, 3-member team battles, online co-op, it has street pass, interactivity, and that's about it for features. Where it gets the gameplay right is in several ways. The first is that the controls work really well. Every Pokemon is a good representation of how they would move according to the stats they have in the main games. Pokemon like Snorlax move slower while others like Ponyta run laps around them. The same goes for the moves. from the main games. Moves like Hyper Beam have their own specific play mechanics and rules to them. This can make the game feel a little bit less repetitive as it changes up the gameplay enough to feel unique compared to Diablo. Where the game gets it wrong is that there are several issues. The first is that the game is good in bite-sized chunks because of how basic the game is. If I can explain it in a single paragraph, it's a really basic game. Not that there's anything wrong with it, it just comes off like a game you could play on your iPod. Its biggest issue is that it's not even close to being as good as Diablo. I know making a game as good as Diablo is a daunting task and may have failed. Go ask the guys who made Darkstone. Pokemon Rumble Blast is a novel attempt at trying to be a Diablo-style game with Pokemon characters. The reality is that it's not even in the same league as Diablo, or even some of its competitors like Baldur's Gate, Dark Alliance, and so forth. Let me put it this way. Diablo has a huge open world, tons of combat options, different playstyles, and dozens of hours of gameplay just to finish the single player. Everything about Pokemon Rumble Blast feels like what would happen if you put the same level of effort that goes into an iOS game into a Diablo-style game. It's not awful, but there's just better options out there. Overall, Pokemon Rumble Blast is an okay game that I had more fun with than expected. Like I said, if you're not a fan of Pokemon or you don't like the Diablo-style hack-and-slash gameplay, then don't bother with this game. There are better options out there, and the game is dirt basic. But if you are a fan of dungeon crawling or arena-style games, and a fan of Pokemon also helps, then it will fill your need for a few hours. I liked it, but I don't wholeheartedly recommend it. I give it a 6.5 out of 10.